These were the days of Risdania, when Keimer and Dwemer lived under the benevolent rule of the Almsivi and their champion, the Hortator. When the gods of Veloth would retreat onto their own to mold the cosmos and other matters, the Hortator would at times be confused. Vivec would always be there to advise him, and this is the second of the lessons of ruling kings. The secret syllable of royalty is this: you must learn it elsewhere. The temporal myth is man. The magical cross is an integration of the worth of mortals at the expense of their spirits. Surrounded with a triangle, and you begin to see the triune house. It becomes divided into corners, which are ruled by our brethren, the four corners, Bal, Dagon, Malak, Shiog. Rotate the triangle, and you pierce the heart of the beginning place, the foul lie, the testament of the irrefutable for a span. Above them all is the horizon where only one stands, though no one stands there yet. It is proof of the new, it is the promise of the wise. Unfold the whole, and what you have is a star, which is not my domain, but not entirely outside my judgment. The grand design takes flight. It is transformed, not only into a star, but a hornet. The center cannot hold. It becomes devoid of lines and points. It becomes devoid of anything, and so becomes a receptacle. This is its usefulness at the end. This is its promise. The sword is the cross, and Almsivi is the triune house around it. If there is to be an end, I must be removed. The ruling king must know this, and I will test him. I will murder him time and again until he knows this. I am the defender of the last and the last. To remove me is to refill the heart that lay dormant at the center that cannot hold. I am the sword, I am the star, Secht, the mechanism that allows the transformation of the world. Ours is the duty to keep the compromise from being filled with Black Sea. The Sharmat sleeps at the center. He cannot bear to see it removed, the world of reference. This is the folly of the false dreamer. This is the amnesia of the dream, or its power, or its circumvention. This is the weaker magic, and it is barbed in venom. This is why I say the secret to swords is the mercy seat. It is my throne. I am become the voice of Almsivi. The world will know me more than my sister and brother. I am the psychopomp. I am the killer of weeds of Veloth. Veloth is the center that cannot hold. I am is the plot. Secht, the ending. I am the enigma that must be removed. These are why my words are armed to the teeth. The ruling king is to stand against me, then before me. He is to learn from my punishment. I will mark him to know. He is to come as male or female. I am the form he must acquire. Because ruling king that sees in another his equivalent rules nothing. The ending of the words is Almsivi. This is the second lesson of ruling kings that Vivec taught Nerevar. The secret syllable is Chim, as we have learned from previous sermon. The temporal myth is man. This line means that all mortals are a product of Lorcan's plan. The free will they have has led them through ages to the present, to now. The mortals are the myth as they all have their origins lost to time. The magical cross is Mundus, the reality. It is referring to the wheel. Just as two bars intersect, so do the spokes connect to the hub. Here the mortals can show their worth, leave their mark, prove themselves. The expense of their spirits is because they are trapped in the physical, constrained by the rules and laws of the Aedra. The triangle that surrounds the cross is the triangle truth, which Azura, Boethia and Mephala embody. Of course, these Daedra are replaced by Tribunal, and the Triune House is the cult of Almsivi, the priests and worshippers of Vivec, Ayem, and Secht. In the view of the Keimer, once the good Daedra passed their wisdom to Veloth, and they organized accordingly into houses. So to say, the cross of the Mundus was surrounded by the teachings of three Daedra, the triangle. Corners appeared. These are the four bad Daedra, Molakbal, Sheogorath, Merun's Dagon, Malakath. But notice how their names are written without commas. all capital letters. It is a spell in Elnifex, referring to the collective house of troubles, the true name Baal Dagon Malak Shiog, to be opposed by another collective entity, Ayem Esecht Vivec. Notice how the I in between each name of a triune is absent from the Bat Daedra. Vec, Secht, and Ayem together form Almsivi, the single god overseeing the Chimer, whereas the Daedra are not joined in purpose or method, only goal, and they are individuals who will, given the right circumstances, fight among themselves. Rotate the triangle is a twisting of the triangle truth, corruption of its principles. This is how the Tribunal seized the power of the heart of Lorkhan, by acting against the will and instruction of their patron gods. They pierced the heart, and the foul lie is how they betrayed Nerevar, paralleled by how Lorkhan was betrayed by other Etada. Irrefutable for a span is how the Tribunal, using their powers, rewrote history so that they were always gods and never conspired against the Hortator. For some time, as Akatosh unwinded, Dragon Break occurred from the first activation of Numidium. This non-linearity of the time, however brief, allowed the Tribunal to change their own past, and even the Dragon God of Time couldn't refuse them. When the timelines merged back together, the one of Vivec's, Almalexia's, and Syl's choosing became the true timeline. Horizon where only one stands is the ultimate enlightenment, the Amaranth. Within view, but unreachable, no one stands there, because no one yet has become the new dreamer and escaped the current dream. The proof of the new refers to the name, Scarab, that becomes the new man, and also to the new dream. The promise of the wise is the promise of Psij, which we will explore more thoroughly in Sermon 25, but for now, it means the stages of life, from conception, through mortality to godhood, and finally to concept itself. Unfold the whole, the mortal world, the cross, surrounded by the limitations, the Daedra. Unfolding this geometric shape, the triangle with corners ruled by the House of Troubles, gives us a star, the star of godhood, the divine spark of the world present in all of us. As stated by Vivec before, the stars are Ayem's domain, but him, being a union of her and Sotasil, can still be a judge on their spheres. The grand design is the path of enlightenment, taking flight, the ascension. Transformation into a star is becoming a god, but the hornet is referring to the nature of God, armored in terror. The hornets, in their swarms, are also a symbol of fertility. Remember that the universal plot is begetting, and attaining the position of the divine means sharing that spark with others. From Sermon 2, thus whoever performs this holy act shall be proud and mighty among the rest. The center that cannot hold is the Red Mountain, and it cannot contain the heart of Lorkhan forever. Vivec here is foreseeing the heart being free in the future. Becoming devoid of lines and points means the future disappearance of the heart. But the heart was made to satisfy the world, and one cannot exist without the other. Because of that, once the heart loses its physical form, its tangibility, it becomes a receptacle, as something must fill its place. Could this void be filled by Talos? Perhaps, but this is subject deserving its own discussion. Another quick note here. The heart is certainly holy, a literal heart of a god, it becoming a receptacle. Could this be the ordained or holy receptacle the Akavir invaders of Kamal sought in the middle of Second Era? But back to the topic at hand. What is the promise of the heart? Its usefulness? I would argue that this is the cycle of attaining godhood. From Lorkhan to the Tribunal to Nerevarine, as we will find out later in this sermon, but also from Lorkhan to Talos. The promise is the escape from the dream. Vivec then predicts that he will have to be removed. Could he be referring to his death at the hands of Nerevarine? Maybe. I would suggest that he is once more talking about the promise of Psij and the cycle. If that's the case, then Vivec knows that at some stage he will have to leave, be gone, from the god to the legacy, but also to be replaced by the next god. He declares that he will test and kill the reincarnations of Nerevar from Sermon 6, until you have the proper tendencies of a hero. I am the defender of the last and the last. I believe this phrase could be paraphrased to I am the defender of the last and the previous. But what? What comes in sequence? And is what Vivec defends? Could it be that the previous are the good Daedra, and the last is the Tribunal, as there will be no more new gods in Morrowind? Or perhaps Vivec is referring to the Chimera as previous and Dunmer the last. After all, Vivec declared himself in Sermon 6, I am Vivec, your protector, and the protector of Red Mountain. Vivec declares that to remove him, and by extension to remove the whole of Tribunal, will refill the heart of Lorkhan, from which they have drawn their power. But this does not speak of the divine energy that's being pulled from the heart. Instead, the heart refilled is referring to the cycle of ascension. The heart becomes the receptacle to be filled. So far, throughout the sermons, the sword was a metaphor for I am, but here Vivec calls himself the sword, the act of violence. In the next paragraph, Vivec tells us that he will be more known than I am or Secht. That is because he will defeat many foes himself, and therefore he is the sword. I am is the star, they are her domain, as said in Sermon 1. Things unknown and known would fold themselves around her, until they were like stars or messages of stars. And from Sermon 11, the splendor of stars is I am's domain. Secht is the mechanism that changes the world. This could be interpreted in several ways. The obvious one is the clockwork city which Secht built, with plan to make it and improve the Nirn, and also the mechanical heart which Secht has built had immense power. Other explanation is that Secht changed the world by figuring out how to use Khagranak's tools to become gods, and it was Secht's brazen defiance of Azura when she decided to curse the Chimera into Dunmer. It is the duty of the Tribunal to prevent the Mundus dissolution into the Oblivion. The world is called the Compromise because some spirits, like the Magna Gi, left it, but those who stayed chose to stay. They have agreed to it. Hence the name, Compromise. Also, in Sermon 32, Vivec says, why do you think the Daedra escaped the Compromise? It clearly shows that Vivec uses this term to describe Mundus. Now, the Black Sea is often used to refer to the black space of Oblivion. How could the mortal realm dissolve into Oblivion? Well, some believe the mythical towers stabilize the world, and if disabled, Nirn and rest of reality will fall apart. Others believe that by eliminating Talos and the races of man, the dragon god of time will unbind, and the time will flow freely in every direction. This will of course be catastrophic for the mortal realm. Or perhaps Vivec refers to the Daedric princes plotting to conquer Nirn for their own gain. After all, the Tribunal had their fair share of conflict with the Daedra, with Mern's Dagon, Nocturnal, Molag Bal. The Sharmat sleeps at the center. After Voran Dagon perished in Red Mountain, his spirit dwelled in the presence of the heart, which preserved his soul, imbued him with some of its power, and warped his perception of reality. Next lines explain Sharmat's point of view. He believes he is the dreamer, and all of Mundus is therefore part of him. He wants to exert control of it, and to achieve this he uses the blight, the divine disease. This is the folly of the false dreamer. He is oblivious that he himself is part of a dream, and subject to its rules. He forgot the dream, its power, and ways to achieve it, the 6 walking ways, and the circumvention, how to escape it, to be free of it, be free of its binds. When compared to the 6 walking ways, Sharmat's corpus is weaker, slower method of attaining control. It is barbed in venom, because its user, Dagothar, will bring his own downfall. From Sermon 11, the waking world is the amnesia of the dream. Once more, we hear of the mercy seat. We have read of it in Sermon 11, and the meaning here is the same. As Vivec put it himself, I am the killer of weeds of Veloth. Mercy seat and the sword, they are the same, the swords that protect and punish. The mercy show to those that deserve it, and to those that remain once the burdensome are removed. I am is the plot, Secht the ending, and Vivec the enigma that must be removed. Could this be the reference to Tribunal's schemes? I am is the plot, the plan to murder Nerevar, as she was his wife. Secht is the end, as he unlocked the secrets of the tools to use them on the heart of Lorcan. Vivec is the enigma, the letter written in uncertainty, one who followed with the betrayal, but in the end regretted it. His words are armed to the teeth, like warrior poet once more declares himself as a threat both physically and verbally. From previous sermon, my mouth is skilled at lying, and its alibi at tooth. His words are dangerous because of his regret, as he could reveal the truth of the Tribunal's ascension and the fate of Hortator. This is one of the reasons why he must be removed, to keep the truth hidden, for if revealed, a religious schism would spread throughout the great houses. Then Vivec predicts Nerevar's return. They will be at odds first in the matters of the heart, and then the second time they meet, Vivec will be there to judge him. From Sermon 11, I will test him until he has the proper tendencies of a hero. Nerevar will return as either gender of any race, the form that Nerevarine must acquire, the enlightenment Vivec achieved, the divinity and the mastery of the world. The last line, repeated from the previous lesson of a ruling king in this context, refers to both Vivec and Nerevarine, as they both do not see each other as equals. Vivec, however, does not aspire to be the ruling king, and instead guides Nerevar to this position. However, Vivec is required to possess the qualities of a ruling king in order to be a god.